Elementary Science Class 6. Body Movements.
Maisie, have you ever thought about how animals move from place to place?
Not really. Why is it important?
Well, understanding animal movements can help us learn more about their behavior and how they interact with their environment.
That makes sense. How do animals move differently from each other?
Animals move in different ways such as walking, running, flying, jumping, creeping, crawling, slithering, and swimming. Each movement depends on the animal's body structure and the environment they live in.
That's fascinating. Why do some animals walk while others slither or crawl?
That's a great question. Some animals move the way they do to adapt to their environment, while others move that way to hunt or escape predators. For example, a snake slithers or crawls to avoid being seen by predators, while a fish swims to catch its prey.
I never thought about it that way. How can we learn more about animal movements?
We can start by observing the movements in our own bodies and then observing the movements of animals around us.
That's a great idea. I'm excited to learn more about animal movements.
Me too. It's amazing how much we can learn from observing the world around us.
Human body and its movements. Have you ever wondered how our body moves and the role of joints and bones in our movements?
Yes, I have. It's fascinating how our body can move in so many different ways.
Definitely. Did you know that our body has different types of joints to help us carry out different movements and activities?
I didn't know that. Can you tell me more about it?
Sure. There are hinge joints like our elbow and knee, pivot joints like the joint between our first and second vertebrae, and ball and socket joints like our shoulder and hip joints.
That's interesting. What about bones? How do they contribute to our movements?
Bones cannot be bent, but we can bend or move our body only at those points where bones meet. There are different bones joined together at the elbow, for example, which allows us to bend our arm.
I see. That makes sense. What happens if we don't have joints in our body?
Without joints, we wouldn't be able to move in any way at all. Joints are essential for our body movements. Fixed joints. Did you know that the different parts of our body have different shapes because of our skeleton?
I didn't know that. How do we know the shape of the human skeleton?
We can have some idea about the shape and number of bones in some parts of our body by feeling them. X-ray images also show the shapes of the bones in our bodies.
That's interesting. What are some examples of the different parts of our body that have different shapes because of our skeleton?
Our wrist is made up of several small bones called cartilages. If it had only one bone, it wouldn't be flexible. The rib cage protects some important internal parts of our body, and the skull encloses and protects the brain.
Wow, I had no idea. How many bones are in the human body?
The human body consists of 206 bones. The backbone consists of 33 vertebrae, and there are 12 ribs on each side of the chest.
I see. Why is it important to understand the human skeleton?
Understanding the human skeleton is essential to maintaining healthy bones and preventing injuries. It also helps doctors diagnose and treat bone-related conditions. Cartilage is a soft, bendable material that is found in parts of the body that need to be flexible, like our ears and joints.
That's interesting. So, what makes our bones move?
Muscles work in pairs to move our bones. When one muscle contracts, it pulls the bone in that direction while the other muscle in the pair relaxes. And, a muscle can only pull, not push.
Wow, I had no idea. Do all animals have bones?
No, not all animals have bones. For example, earthworms and snails move without bones. They have muscles that help them move. Gait of Animals.
Definitely. Did you know that earthworms move differently on a slippery surface than on soil?
Yes, they do. They use tiny bristles under their body to get a good grip on the ground.
Wow, that's amazing. What about snails?
Snails move slowly and carry their shell on their back. The shell is their outer skeleton and is not made of bones.
Interesting. What about cockroaches?
Cockroaches have 3 pairs of legs that help them walk and climb. They also have 2 pairs of wings that help them fly.
I had no idea. What about birds?
Birds have hollow and light bones that are well suited for flying. Their breastbones are modified to hold muscles of flight, which are used to move the wings up and down. Fish have a streamlined body shape that allows water to flow around it easily, which helps them move in water. Did you know that the skeleton of the fish is covered with strong muscles?
Wow, I didn't know that. How do they swim?
During swimming, muscles make the front part of the body curve to one side, and the tail part swings towards the opposite side. Then, quickly, the body and tail curve to the other side, making a jerk and pushing the body forward. A series of such jerks make the fish swim ahead. This is helped by the fins of the tail.
That's amazing. What about snakes? How do they move?
Snakes have a long backbone with many thin muscles connected to each other, even though they are far from one another. The snake's body curves into many loops, and each loop gives it a forward push by pressing against the ground. Since its long body makes many loops, the snake moves forward very fast and not in a straight line.